Today, I'm going to be giving you a few secrets on what to think about when you're playing chess to make chess an easier game. You see, chess for most people is very complicated. They think about chess and they think about this crazy complex game, but if you have a few things in mind, things will be a lot easier and you will know what to do to not lose very early on in the game. So I'm going to play one rapid game and I'm going to play against someone that is around my level, which is 2200. I'm going to explain to you every single move that I'm making, why I'm making it, and I'm going to be giving you a few tips along the way so that you can learn a few things and hopefully, like I said, make chess easier, a little bit easier for you. Now, do you know something else that is very hard, but that can be turned easy? Coding, which is why I'm so excited to introduce to you the sponsor of this video, Boot.dev. Boot.dev is an online self-paced platform that aims at teaching coding in a fun way. You see, for most people, the biggest problem when it comes to learning how to code is that they find it extremely boring. And this is something that Boot.dev knows, which is why they have made their platform like a fun, captivating RPG game where you can earn XP, go up in levels, and complete quests to compete for the top spots on the global leaderboard. With Boot.dev, you will learn back-end web development from start to finish in the Python and Go programming languages, and the best of all is that you will do so by writing a ton of code and being very active in your own learning. Now you may say, Anna, why do I need to learn how to code? Well, coding is one of the most usable skills out there, and being good at coding can not only lead to a great career in programming, which typically earns quite a lot of money, but it can also give you better career perspectives in many jobs. Boot.dev also has a very active Discord community that is there to help you if you would ever get stuck on any challenge. So click the link in the description box down below and use code Cramling to get 25% off your first payment to Boot.dev. This means 25% off your first month or your first year, depending on what subscription plan you choose. Thank you so much, Boot.dev, for sponsoring this video and for making us all better at coding. Now, let's get back to some chess. Okay, let's see who I play. I'm playing against Yuma from Spain. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to play d5. I'm going to be making sure that I start by developing all of my minor pieces. I am going to be castling very early on, and I am not going to bring this queen out until much later on in the game. So, bishop f4, we're seeing a London here. I'm going to play c5. This move is right now threatening this pawn. The idea is that if he captures, I will be bringing out my knight, and I will be preparing to push this pawn, threatening the bishop, and being able to capture this. So now I'm going to bring out my knight, and now absolutely, if he takes my pawn, I can push this pawn, threaten the bishop at the same time as I take this. Now this is kind of a Jabava London, and I am just simply going to push this pawn and wait for preventing this knight from coming up here and creating crazy bad stuff with, you know, this bishop over here as well. Probably going to choose to bring out my other knight too before I decide what to do here in the center. And now he brings out this bishop, which to me looks a little bit strange as he hasn't pushed this pawn, and this is allowing me right now to push up this pawn and simply threaten the bishop. So I think this is what I'm going to do, and I don't really want to keep this bishop here. If I push this pawn, all my pawns are going to be on light squares, which means that this light squared bishop will be terrible because it will not be able to pass through the pawns. So I want to start by bringing my bishop out. Now, if I go here, maybe he will do this, but I guess I will live with that. I could also have played h6 first to bring out my bishop so that he doesn't have this. Now, before he gets rid of my bishop, I'm going to push up my pawn so that if he goes here and threatens it, I can go back. Finally, he castles. I'm going to push up my pawn as well to bring out this one. And after this, all my pieces are going to be developed. I'm going to think about every time that he gives me the option to capture a piece. I'm going to consider, okay, should I capture this piece or not? Definitely thinking about this move right now. But what happens? He might take with the pawn, which would be really bad for this bishop. Actually, if I take and he takes with the bishop and I attack it, he has to move the bishop back. Then I can move my bishop and castle, and I should do this before I move out this bishop, because otherwise when the bishop is here, this pawn will be under attack. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this knight right now. And now I'm gonna go back here, threaten this bishop. He definitely does not want to allow me to take it, because then I would have the bishop pair. The bishops together work really well because they're able to dominate basically the whole board. So he doesn't want to do that. This move, I'm not really sure what it does. I'm gonna castle and I'm gonna be happy with my life. And now finally, I have completed all my development. Like now I am happy, I am done, I'm ready to battle. This is good, you know? So he plays bishop g4. Now this move is a little bit funny because actually this is his good bishop. It should be good, but he's played in a way where this bishop is bad. And this is my bad bishop, which has also turned kind of good because it's on this diagonal. So I'm definitely considered taking here, but I kind of want to keep this bishop, I think. Just because this bishop is so incredibly bad. Yeah, I'm going to go bishop h7 actually, and I'm going to be probably just trying to bring out this knight. Especially now, this bishop doesn't have a lot of squares to go to. Definitely considering what happens after f5. And g5, this looks very crazy. But in a position that is this locked in, I am actually questioning if this isn't really good. So this maybe goes against a little bit the rules of chess or the principles of chess. But I am just simply going to push up my pawns and just say, hey, you want to go here? You can't. Hey, you want to push this pawn? You can't. I mean, I'm just getting so much space. Like, look, my pawns are so advanced on this side of the board. My pawns are so advanced on this side of the board. This could sometimes be a weakness if my king becomes weak, but because all his pieces are down here and cannot really push to my side, I think that this is pretty good. Now, one analogy that I typically think about when I think about chess is actually football. By the way, I'm taking with this pawn because I'm taking towards the center. That's typically how you want to take. You want to capture towards the center. Also, if I would capture like this, then my rook would be hanging, but always capture towards the center, which are these four squares. I like to think about chess as a football game. You know, you want to have as many of your players on the other side as possible, at the same time as you don't want to let any football get into your What's the word? Porteria. It's a Spanish word. Okay, whatever. You don't want to have any football enter, you know, the goal, right? So you need to have your goalkeeper stopping the balls, and you need to have your defense as well, stopping any counterattacks from the opponent. So chess to me is a lot like football, and I think it becomes kind of easier to think about it when you think about it that way. So anyways, he goes c3. I'm not really exactly sure what this move does. But I love the fact that this bishop is right now pointing towards this pawn, preventing this rook from moving. It's kind of stuck here defending. I'm threatening right now to play g4 and trap this bishop. If I'm able to push this pawn one step, this bishop will have no square to go to. Absolutely no square. So definitely want to try to do this. And yeah, I'm just really happy. I'm also able to maybe place my knight on this square. This would be a fantastic square for my knight. Would be dominating basically the whole position. And this knight doesn't really have a lot of places to go to. Like, I think maybe one of the best moves is to go knight c1, but that is an incredibly sad move to make. Yeah, incredibly sad. That's why he's spending some time here thinking, what should he do? If he goes knight c1, I might even play queen a5, and now, after everything, finally get my queen active. Look at this. I'm going to play this move right now. Need to remember to not play rook b8, because then I will lose my rook. But it's really hard to keep everything together. I am threatening this pawn right now. If I capture this pawn, well, then I will literally be like a full pawn up, but also this pawn right here will be a protected pass pawn. If this queen goes here, bup, my bishop that is hiding on h7 is going to come to life. So it goes queen d2, which makes sense. But now I have a few great things that I'm seeing. To begin with, I can go, well, I'm seeing that this square right here is a square I want to place my knight in. Problem is that this bishop is able to take my knight if I go here. So what happens if I simply threaten the bishop and force the bishop to go? Bye-bye, bishop. Where are you going to go? You have to retreat. And then I'm able to place my knight over here. And then after I place my knight over here, I'm threatening the queen. I'm threatening this pawn. I'm threatening this. Complete disaster for my opponent. So now I can place my knight here. The queen pretty much has to go to e1 because if it goes here, I'm able to take here and threaten a lot of different things. So I think the queen has to go to e1. And then I believe that I should simply be taking this pawn. Question is with what? Do I take it with the queen or do I take it with the knight? That is going to be a big decision to make. But I actually think being a pawn up... Oh, he goes here. Oh, I didn't expect this move. At all. So I'm spending a little bit of time thinking, and the reason for it is because I'm realizing that I can either, I need to look at how to capture this pawn. Either I go knight takes pawn, threatening the queen, threatening the bishop, but the queen will probably move somewhere like here. I will take, the queen will take, I'll be a pawn up and I'll be happy. But is there anything better? I mean, I would kind of rather take this pawn and also destroy the pawn structure on this side. Which means that I would like to basically force his pawns to be in places they don't want to be. For example, you know, double pawns, the tops being on top of each other or things like this. So I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this bishop instead, force this pawn to be a double pawn, weakening this pawn as the one friend that is defending this pawn will be gone. And now I could take here, but why do this? Allowing this bishop to retreat, opening up a defense square for the queen, when I can actually just capture this pawn right now, and there's no way for my opponent to defend this pawn. I'm winning a pawn, but I'm also creating so many weaknesses in my opponent's position that I'm going to win another one. I love this. I think I'm completely winning right now. I'm a pawn up. I think this is just completely over. Pretty much. So he trades rooks. Need to take here. I'm going to take with the rook so that I am able to simply get my rook on an open file, which is where rooks want to be. This is where they can navigate. And now I'm going to take this pawn. And now I'm all of a sudden 2 pawns up. Amazing. What is the next thing going to be? Well, I'm realizing that my opponent doesn't really have a lot of ways of getting his pieces out. So what I'm seeing is that, for instance, this pawn, how do you defend it? If I, for instance, go here, I see that I'm defending everything. And I'm threatening queen takes pawn. Well, okay, my opponent will give me a free piece. I don't think he saw that this was hanging. But there wasn't really any good way of defending this pawn. The only way was to go knight over here. But then I can activate my rook, which is once again why rooks are so good in open and active positions. And the game is finished. I end up winning the game. My opponent resigns. And this was actually a great game, I think. There was 0 mistakes, 0 blunders, and 0 misses. So let's do a little game review, see what the accuracy was. And, well, you can try to guess what the accuracy was. The accuracy was 92.9% for me. It's almost 93%. And the computer is saying that I played like a 25-50 player. So I'm really happy with this game. And I think it was just that slowly but surely we were able to kind of outplay the opponent. All of my pieces got great squares. My opponent was being pushed back. And then it was just easier for me to play. And there was some tactical blows at the end. So I hope that this made you learn something. At least made you be able to follow a little bit better the thought process of someone that is 2100. And let me know if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, boot.dev, for sponsoring this video. I'll see you all in the next one.